Hey, I'm Mike.
Hey, I'm Ethan.
I watched the first half of Clifford.
I watched the second half of Clifford.
And this
is the other half.
I know where you all think we're going with this. We're going to make a big joke about Big Red Dog.
No. We've grown.
We've grown.
We've moved past
We've
that.
adapted.
Obviously, this is the 1994 Clifford.
With Martin Short.
Where
he plays a child.
Which we all know everyone really thinks about when they think about Clifford. They don't
Of
think
course.
about
That's the first name that comes to mind.
They think
when
about
you think Arthur, you think of a drunk British man who's rich.
Exactly.
When you think Clifford, you think of a 10-year-old boy who's played by a full-grown adult man. Yes. Yeah.
Mike, if you could find a type of genre of film for me that I'm predetermined to hate,
Yep.
This is the type of film.
What do you mean? Just an annoying character
I
being
love
annoying?
an annoying character. Well, the thing is like for example, not a big fan of PeeWee Herman, right?
Really?
I'm not a big fan. You don't know this?
I didn't know you didn't like PeeWee Herman.
I don't like PeeWee Herman much.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's whatever. I respect him for his. I think some of his stuff is funny-ish,
Right.
But his overall character is great.
It's kind of annoying, yeah.
So it's like,
then.
What if we took that and made it worse?
Yeah, made it
and
darker.
We made the Roberto Benigni and Pinocchio, the other thing I hated, which is an adult playing a child.
Yes.
When we did that with Clifford. And I was like, at some point, are they going to reveal that he's like an adult playing a child? No. He's
just a child.
He's just a child the whole time.
Yeah. He's just an evil child being played by an adult, but we're not going to address the fact that he's an adult.
I hated this movie so much. There was one redeeming part at the very end.
I can't wait.
But
you are in good company because notably Roger Ebert also despised this movie.
Yeah.
Hated this fucking film.
I can't imagine why. Probably because it's not very funny.
I mean, it's weird because, okay, so a mutual friend of ours, Sam, who's actually been on the podcast, he was on the...
Well, after this one, but he knows I was going to roast him too much,
Exactly.
So he's like, I don't want to defend this movie.
He recently watched this movie, and he said he really liked it. And then, like, it's weird, like, I in my weird, like, cinematograph space of like online discourse, I feel like this movie's getting a bit of like a weird resurgence. Like I've seen it mentioned several times. I don't know why. I think it's because like people...
Just because you're friends with Sam on the social media and he's liking that content.
Possibly.
Therefore it's perpetrating itself to your feeds and letting you know that, hey, maybe reevaluate this man-child movie.
I think it's also just like Martin Short's having a bit of a resurgence, you know? Like he's in...
Sure.
You know, he's in like Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
He's like doing this weird thing where he's playing Jiminy Glick again, which I don't know if you know Jiminy Glick, but...
I do not. Please explain for the audience.
Jiminy Glick...
And me.
Okay, Jiminy Glick is this character he plays. It's this sort of like fat interviewer guy who interviews famous people. It's sort of like Between Two Ferns, where it's like it's funny because they bring real famous people on, and then Martin Short in a fat suit is just like, "Hello, how are you? The Rock? Oh, I was expecting an actual Rock. You're Dwayne Johnson?" And that's like his bit. Is like he doesn't really know who he's interviewing. He's being very passive aggressive and rude to them, and he's very obnoxious, and he doesn't seem to care very much about people he's interviewing or their career. Sort of like knocks these famous actors down a peg. It's very funny. I actually really like Jiminy Glick.
Okay.
And so I think there's this maybe like just a resurgence of like let's reevaluate Martin Short. Maybe he's like a funny guy, you know.
I don't think anyone's ever been like, fuck Martin Short, right? Like
I don't know. But I think people forgot about Martin Short is what I'm saying.
I guess. I mean, he's kind of short. Hey. I'm here every night. I'm a Jiminy Glick myself. Let me tell you. Put me in that fat suit and we'll make some jokes. I suppose that's fair, but like, you know, there are blights on people's filmographies and this can just ignore.
Yeah.
This could be one of them because what did you think about this movie? Did you like this movie?
No. I like the concept. I like the idea of like a stupid, annoying kind of, because like the conceit is funny. It's not just that he's annoying, it's that he's smart. Like Clifford is a smart little boy.
Yes.
Who is like a genius and also like evil. And I kind of like that concept. But then I feel like it starts going off and like the rest of the universe feels a little bit too goofy, you know? Like
no one feels like real characters.
I think it would be a lot funnier. Like the main guy, the Uncle Martin, I think he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, he's doing a great job being annoyed the whole time.
Apparently,
which was my reflection.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I get it.
Apparently, he actually really enjoyed working on this movie and was like, he played like that character very seriously, you know, very down to earth, which was cool, which is good. I think that adds to the comedy of it. But I feel like every other character in this movie's also playing like a cartoon, and I'm like, I feel like that's moving against the character of Clifford.
I will say though, this is also a biased movie, right? Because he's telling the story, right?
Oh,
Adult Clifford's telling it, so that kind of can lean into
Adult Clifford, who's like
old. Yeah, so I'm just like, Martin Short just wants to be in makeup this whole time.
He doesn't want to be his own age.
He doesn't want to be himself. He's like, you know what'll separate me from myself? Makeup.
Yes.
Give me this old
Either
man
way.
makeup,
Yeah.
or give me little boy makeup, which I don't know if that's a thing.
Probably. He's not really. I mean, I think he's
wig?
probably wearing a wig. I think everyone's standing on apple boxes whenever they stand next to him, so they can appear taller. And I think they've given him like makeup to like try to like hide his like wrinkles a little bit. I think probably. But I think most of it is just down to like Martin Short's just a really physical actor. That guy.
Yeah.
He moves around a lot. He's very goofy. He knows how to move his body. I think Martin Short's a funny dude. I think this movie, it's like a lot of times I just be waiting for the joke to happen. I think is what happens.
Yeah,
you know, like I know I know it's coming. Just hit me with it.
Also, the joke is like kind of absurd, right? Like the whole premise is just absurd, and it's kind of riding off of like, isn't this absurd?
Yeah,
isn't this weird how like smart this kid is, and he keeps being annoying because he wants to go to Dinosaur World. Or
yes, Dinosaur World. I cannot fucking wait to see Dinosaur World.
That's the best part of the movie.
Is it really?
Best part of the movie is Dinosaur World. Absolutely. Like if I just watched that part, I'd be like, this movie's fun. It's a great time.
Clifford really fucking wants to go to Dinosaur World.
He's not wrong. Dinosaur World fucking rips.
I want to go. I want to see Dinosaur World. I was upset that I had to turn the movie off before I got to see Dinosaur World.
That's what
I felt like Clifford.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I was like, Nyeh.
And now you're also terrorizing this podcast.
I'm terrorizing this podcast. I've stopped us from continuing talking about the movie.
You've unplugged the XLR cables multiple times during the recording.
Constantly.
You're not going to hear any. Obviously, I had to edit all around this. It's just to annoy me, not you,
Ethan
audience.
knows that I've done this, but he's not resolving it immediately.
I'm not resolving it immediately.
He's gonna fix it in post.
Yeah, I have to keep telling my girlfriend that we are best friends too.
Yeah, that's the other character that I don't like is the girlfriend played by Mary Steenburgen. I don't like her at all.
Sarah Davis.
She's
Miss
Sarah. She's such a nothing character.
She's so nothing. She's just there to be like, just the reason that Uncle Martin has to deal with this kid Clifford.
Yeah,
otherwise, you just like send this fucker out of here because he's annoying. She's just there to be like continue the plot, continue the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's like an Olive Oil type character. She's just like sort of like. She talks in this annoying voice, and she doesn't seem to know how the world works.
No,
like I don't know. That's the sort of shit that like bothers me. Where it's like I want Clifford to be the only absurd thing about this movie, but I don't know. Let me tell you a little bit about the film.
All
about
right.
that movie opens with a quote, and the quote I'm not going to read a word for word, but basically it's like, "What's an exciting adventure for children can be a perilous adventure for parents," and I'm like. What does that mean? That doesn't really come into play.
That's like when you have to go watch a shitty movie with your kids.
Oh, yes.
And you're just like, oh, fucking Minions again?
Or like, yeah, that's what it is. Or I assume where it's like, it's like when you see those old like Looney Tunes movies where like you see the little baby crawling in the construction zone.
Yes, absolutely that. I mean, that's kind of what this movie kind of turns into. So.
Oh, really?
It kind of makes some sense.
Opening credits. It's drawings of a child riding a dinosaur. Going on adventures, and we learn that that's probably a drawing of Clifford, I guess. I don't know, and he has a little dinosaur doll.
Oh yeah, it has a name, doesn't
Reggie
it?
or something.
He carries that shit around everywhere. And he talks to it.
You see Martin Short in old person makeup. It's the year 2050. It's the future.
Okay.
And he's a priest at a home for troubled boys, and he comes across a young boy.
What you don't know is that's the only form of government right there.
I know.
It's just a Catholic priest in his own little shop in L.A.
We don't know.
We don't know anything
else about the future.
No, nothing else. This movie does not take any.
I think
jumps.
they only had to do that, right? Because like the movie's set in the
modern day.
Day was shot. Yeah, exactly. So we are introduced to Roger, a little boy who's trying to run away. And Martin Short.
Did you relate to Roger because you have a dog named Roger? And
no.
You're like, oh, he's also trying to run away? Because he doesn't.
He doesn't.
No.
But he is a troubled little
little boy. Yeah. So you have to give him a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you should show him this film. That probably was set up
He
straight.
did watch the movie with me, and he seems very bored by it.
I mean, relatable.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
And so the movie is basically Clifford as an old man telling Roger about his time as a troubled little boy. Because the both of them are not only troubled, but smart. Apparently, Roger is a really smart boy.
Oh, okay.
He's a really high IQ.
Oh, man. These troublemaking smart kids.
Exactly. So we see Clifford, and he's on a plane with his parents, and they're headed to Hawaii because his dad, who's played by... Oh, God.
I like to imagine both of these, the priest and the kid sitting down watching Rick and Morty together because they both have high IQs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's how they bond.
They would understand and like that show because they have very high IQs.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a funny bit where like the kid's like Clifford's like, how high is your IQ, little kid, Roger? And Roger's like, oh, I'm 185. And then Clifford's like, oh wow, I'm 190. And the kid's like, actually, I'm 195. And so it's like they're trying to like one.
I almost wonder. I feel like IQs had like a whole thing back like around the 90s. People were like talking about
was
IQs
just like invented, you know, or like enter the
because I feel like I don't know anyone who knows their IQ off the top of their head anymore, but I felt like in the 90s and kind of like early 2000s, like people kept talking about their IQs a lot. There was the Burger King kid, the Whiz kid. Well, like one of them was called called IQ.
Yeah,
like people were talking about IQ a lot, and now I feel like it's all about.
I think it entered the public consciousness as a thing of as a means of separating people.
Yeah,
interesting.
Now we just do star charts and shit.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
exactly.
Everyone's got a way to separate themselves.
People still refer to IQs, but it's only the dumb people that do that.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's very true. I don't even know how you can even do an IQ test. Is that shit on BuzzFeed?
Yeah, exactly.
Do I have to see what Gilmore Girl I am, and then next to it I get my little IQ test?
Yeah, if you're, God, I'm trying to think of literally any Gilmore Girl character.
The white one.
The white one.
There you go.
That'll nail it down. Okay, so we meet Clifford as a little boy. He's on a plane with his parents headed to Hawaii. His dad is played by that one actor who's really funny, and I can't remember his name. Oh, man. Look him up.
I will. I'll look him up.
Anyway, so but
Richard Kind.
Thank you, Richard Kind.
Oh yeah, okay. I never see him in my half.
You never do?
No.
Okay. Well, he's Clifford's dad, and
he's
he
Richard
is going.
Mean.
Yeah.
He's
well,
abandoning his son.
No, because Clifford's a little shit. First thing we see about Clifford, he's a piece of shit. He's being so annoying. He's very. You know what? He is like Pinocchio.
Yeah, That's the thing is, I just see fucking Pinocchio again. Like, he's no different. Like Pinocchio's a smart kid. He just wants to get his own shit.
I don't think Pinocchio's a smart kid. I think Pinocchio is
there are versions
naive.
of Pinocchio where he's pretty smart.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Wisecracking.
Wisecracking.
Not, but no.
But he is naive. That's true.
Yeah.
But aren't all kids naive though? A little bit. They don't know.
Definitely.
They don't know the dangers.
But except
of
for
the world.
Clifford. Clifford is not.
He's pretty naive.
No, I don't think he is. I think he's conniving.
I think he's conniving, but he is like. You can be conniving and naive to the rest of the world.
That's
in some
possible.
ways. Like he doesn't know what the fuck Clinton's doing in office right now. Like, he doesn't know.
With Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, he didn't know about any sexual relations with a woman. He doesn't know anything about that.
Doesn't matter to him.
Doesn't
right?
know
The only thing that matters to him is Dinosaur World.
Yeah, fair.
And so they're on the plane, and he's like, "I want to go to Dinosaur World. It's my birthday." And Richard Kind, Clifford's dad, is like, "It is not your birthday. That was 6 months ago, and we're not going to LA. We're going to Hawaii." Because he's got a speaking engagement there. Like there's a convention where he has to go speak.
Sick.
They're getting a lot of money for him to go to Hawaii.
Okay.
And so Clifford's like, I want to go to the cockpit. So he goes to the cockpit, and when he goes up there, he like puts his arms out and hits everyone in the head. You know, like he's just being really goddamn annoying. He gets all the way to the cockpit, and he ends up turns off some of the like engines so that they have to land in LA. And already Ethan doesn't like this.
I hate this kid.
It's awful. He's awful. So they have to land in LA basically. And his dad's like, I'm going to miss out on my conventions, my speaking fees. We're going to, I'm going to lose out on money. We need to go to Hawaii. You're being an awful brat. We're not going to Dinosaur World. And when you know it, he has a brother, kind of an estranged brother that he doesn't really talk to very much, Martin, who lives in LA. So he calls him up and he's like, hey, would you be down to look after Clifford for me? And this is just perfect timing because a little bit before then we are introduced to Martin, and Martin is in love with Sarah. He's engaged to her.
Oh wow.
Which I wanted to mention because I don't know if a ring is brought up in your half of the movie.
Kinda.
Like
I have to look at my notes. I don't really remember it. I'm trying to forget this movie as we talk about it.
That's
so,
fair.
I'm gonna look. I'm relying on my notes. So we'll see how well they are.
We'll see how it goes. So they're engaged to be married, but she really wants kids, and he just bought a house that has one bedroom.
Okay.
And so she's like, "You're not serious. You don't want to have a baby. You don't want kids. You're not good with kids." And so this is the perfect excuse for Martin to go like, "Yes, I will take in Clifford to show Sarah that I want to be a parent and I can, look after kids, basically."
Of course, he's picking up the devil child. Little does he know.
But he doesn't know that because he hasn't seen Clifford since Clifford was like a baby. So he doesn't know anything about Clifford.
Yeah, babies can only get into so much trouble. So
exactly. So what happens next? So blah, 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 blah. So he goes to pick up Clifford from the airport. Clifford is sleeping peacefully, acting like an angel. Clifford steals other people's luggage from the airport, including a dog, which I don't think comes into play in your half of the movie. Probably not.
They killed the dog by my half.
Okay, good. What happens next? Oh, and then also it's revealed that something I didn't mention about Martin is he's a engineer.
Okay.
And his big project is he is building a railway system for the city of LA.
Yeah, he's making public transportation.
Hilarious.
That's probably the best joke in the movie.
That is hysterical.
The reason
imagine the city of LA wanting a fast public transit system.
No. Imagine they were trying to get it, and then it was sabotaged by Clifford.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Another reason to hate him.
Yet another reason. But one of the other projects he worked on was the dinosaurs at Dinosaur World.
Okay, that makes sense.
So he has like a lifetime pass to Dinosaur World because he basically like built the animatronics for them.
Okay.
And Clifford learns this and is like, holy shit, we got to go to Dinosaur World like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right?
Why wouldn't you take him?
Well, we'll see.
Why wouldn't you take this kid?
Why
wouldn't you just get it over with? The whole movie would be over if you just took him to Dinosaur World.
It's true. So Clifford arrives at Sarah's place because like Martin's brought Clifford to Sarah's place to like show him off to Sarah. Like, hey, look, here's my nephew, my child. Take me seriously. Let's, move in with me and all this stuff. But Clifford's a little sneak.
A little snake.
He's a little snake. And he sneaks into Sarah's house while she's showering and like takes the little dinosaur toy and like peeks the dinosaur toy into the shower. Yeah. And she gets terrified of the dinosaur and originally assumes that it's Martin, but it's actually Clifford. And Clifford sees Sarah in her like nightgown or whatever because she just like jumped out of the shower basically, and instantly he's infatuated with her.
Yeah.
So that's another part of the movie. A full-grown man who is playing a 10-year-old boy is in love with this, or 8-year-old boy I think is in love with this full-grown woman.
Yeah.
And is trying to take her away from her uncle.
Well, just like, sure, whatever. Crushes like that happen, I
No,
guess.
totally. It's just weird that he's played by an adult man.
That's the thing.
That's the thing that's really hard to get over.
They just never address it. He's just there, and I'm just like, I hate your little fucking shit-eating grin, you little...
He's evil.
You little kid, and he's evil and conniving. It also kind of perpetuates that, like, the only reason this kid is so smart in some ways is because he's played by an adult, right? They couldn't get a smart enough kid actor to do all this.
Yeah, but would you want a kid actor to be doing this?
No, probably not, right?
Yeah.
But
I think it's the concept is funny. It's just that, again, that, like, Sarah is such a dumb, stupid character. She doesn't see that this little boy is like infatuated with her.
Like, I'm so innocent. I don't know. I just want to have kids, but this kid really is really horny for me. It's really weird.
It's really off-putting. It's really creepy to see. So anyway, Martin has to bring Clifford back to his place, which again is a 1-bedroom. So Clifford is just gonna like hang out in his living room on like a
couch,
pull-out couch, basically. So he's like, okay, tomorrow, Clifford, we're going to Dinosaur World, but first we have to do something else, basically.
Sure.
And Clifford is like sitting in front of the TV, and he's up till 2 a.m. watching boobs on like the National Geographic channel.
Okay.
So already starting to like imply like Clifford is like a very strange person. He's like, he pulled up like Aboriginal tribes or whatever, where women's boobs are out, and he's just watching that lustfully, and it's just like, what the fuck is this movie doing?
Just a weird horny kid.
Yeah, weird horny child. And then he also finds the ring that Martin says he's going to give to Sarah, which doesn't make sense because I believe they're already engaged to be married.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, unless they're not.
I thought that they were.
They might be just talking about engagement.
Maybe they're engaged to be engaged.
Sure.
So next day, Martin has a big meeting with Mr. Ellis. Do you see Mr. Ellis in your half the movie?
Yes, he runs the company, I think.
Yep, Ellis and Ellis.
He's got a toupee. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely see him.
Mm-hmm.
He's very hot on
Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we know him.
Did you recognize him?
He is played by Dabney Coleman.
Mm-hmm. Did you recognize him?
I don't know where he's from.
He's from Cloak and Dagger. That
Why does this guy
is
keep popping
Jack
up?
Black. When he showed up, it was like a jump scare. I was like, is he following us?
He didn't have a mustache. I don't know who it was.
He has a beard. Yeah, that's true.
He's got a beard. Different hair. I can't
Different
recognize
hair.
him. And in fact, his hair is a key point in this
Yeah,
movie.
that's true too.
So, I don't know. It is very weird. I feel like Cloak and Dagger was the inflection point of this whole thing.
Because then he was in, what was the other movie we saw? The Towering Inferno. He's in that one too.
Yeah.
And then he died recently too.
Yeah.
It's fucking
He's
weird.
in the news. He can't stop following us.
Yeah, that's right. So he's a bald womanizer. I wrote down, they mentioned this. And Ellis brings Martin into his office and he's like, hey, you have 2 days to redesign this model of the train line in LA. Mm-hmm. And he's like, 2 days to remodel it? Like, I can't do that. And he's like, well, you're a single man, you have kids, just late nights and figure it out. And he's like, okay. So he's got to do it, which means he can't take Martin to Dinosaur. He can't take Clifford to Dinosaur World.
It is confusing that the main character's name is Martin when
he's
we got
played,
against Martin Short.
Yes,
which is a little confusing, but I don't know. Why can't they make it easy? Like fucking Home Improvement just named Tim Allen Tim.
Exactly.
Tim Taylor. Like, come on, just make it easy.
Or the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
Where he's named Cliff Huxtable.
Hey, there was also another show he was in where he was just called Cosby. So
Really?
yeah, it was the show after. I think it was just called Cosby.
Oh,
not the Cosby Show. I think it was called Cosby. They made like another show. That's the one
Little Bill.
I watched that show a lot, and then I was like, wait, this isn't the one everyone's talking about.
No. I grew up with the Cosby Show.
And then the Cosby Show started coming on more, and I started watching that, and I was like, oh, this is the one people care about. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I used to watch it to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
Keyword used to watch.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, Clifford is very upset that he's not going to go to Dinosaur World. And he starts freaking out in the car on the way home. And Martin's like, we can't go to Dinosaur World. I've got this big project I got to do. We're not going to Dinosaur World. And Clifford starts freaking out. And then he's like, I need chocolate. Give me chocolate right now. So Martin parks a car in a parking lot.
This is anxiety food, dude.
This is anxiety food. He goes to get chocolate from like a convenience store.
Sure.
And apparently they're like almost out of chocolate. They're all out of chocolate basically. And I'm like, how are you
all out of chocolate? There's gotta be some sort of chocolate.
There's gotta be some kind of candy.
Unless he's like specifically like, I need to have a Hershey's chocolate. It's like, dude,
No.
everything has chocolate.
Everything has chocolate in it. So he goes in to try to find chocolate. And while Clifford is sitting outside, luckily the car right next to them is full of a family that are going to go to Dinosaur World. And there's one kid that's dressed up like a dinosaur in a big dinosaur outfit.
Oh, so you know where they're going.
So Clifford follows the kid in the dinosaur outfit to the bathroom, gives him a bunch of money so they can switch clothes. And Clifford goes into the car of the family going to Dinosaur World.
I don't think you could buy out a kid who's got a fucking dinosaur outfit on to not.
It's
go
a
to
lot
Dinosaur
of
World.
money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot
Where
of
does Clifford
money.
get all his money from?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where he got the money from, but he has it.
That's a great question. Where did he get that money from?
I don't know.
Oh, you forget he's played by an adult. He pulls it out of his adult
from his
wallet.
job.
Yeah,
exactly.
His job. Yeah.
The budget of the movie. Obviously.
I thought honestly, this whole movie, I thought it was gonna be an orphan situation. Like at one point, it's gonna be revealed. Like, yeah, I am.
That
an
would
adult.
be crazy. I would like that
because they do something where they keep saying, yes, a human child would never act like this, implying he's like an alien or something. And I'm like, wait, so is he gonna reveal that he is like an alien or like something? No. They just
no. He's just a normal kid. Well, he's an evil normal kid.
Yeah, I think they put that stuff at the beginning and the end where it was narrated by.
That was something that was added by the studio involvement.
I absolutely can believe that because otherwise it's like, what the fuck? When is the shoe gonna drop? And now it's like, oh, he's an old man, so clearly he's just a normal person.
This is how he is. Yeah, exactly.
They had to put that at the beginning, which I did not see the beginning, so I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop the whole time.
So, Clifford is in the car with the family. Martin comes out and he's like, "Where is Clifford?" Doesn't find him. Pulls Clifford in the dino suit out of the car, and then the family's like, "Let go of my son, you pervert!" Mm-hmm. And then the mom beats up Clifford and Martin and stuff. It's a whole thing.
Beats up Clifford?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because Clifford's also, in the outfit. He gave money to her son.
This adult child is now inside this boy's outfit. Yeah, it's pretty fucking weird.
It's very strange. So Clifford is now going to be punished. So no Dinosaur World at all. Martin is putting his foot down.
Okay.
And that's why they're not going to Dinosaur World, is because Clifford's a bad boy who switched clothes, basically.
I mean, that's pretty bad.
So that night, Martin's working late, and then he gets a phone call from Sarah about her, apparently it's her parents' anniversary dinner tonight. And Martin's like, he forgot. but of course he's going to go because he wants to make a good impression with Sarah's parents.
Yeah.
And Clifford's on like the other line of the phone hearing this conversation, and he says, "Too busy for a boy's dream, but not too busy for dinner." So he's like, okay, now it's like that scene in like the old Looney Tunes cartoons where Bugs Bunny's like, "This means war."
Yeah. Now it's personal.
Now, yes, exactly. So he I don't know if this comes into play later, but he recorded a conversation with Martin where Martin said, "I've got a bomb for you." And he uses the audio of him saying, "I've got a bomb." And he has that just on a tape. I don't know if that comes into play. Okay, but that happens. So that night, Clifford is brought to the anniversary party with Martin. I think because Martin doesn't want to leave him home alone because he's a child. And Martin, okay, this is fucking crazy to me. I don't know. Maybe if I was like a child, I wouldn't think this was weird. So they go to the anniversary party.
Yeah.
And they're all hanging out. And Martin meets Sarah's parents. And Sarah's like, "Hey, honey, I'm going to go get you a drink. What do you want?" And he goes, "Oh, just the usual. Just get me a Bloody Mary."
Bloody
Who gets a Bloody Mary at a dinner party?
Dinner?
Yeah.
No, that is weird.
That's fucking bizarre. And like, that's the normal drink for you is a Bloody Mary?
I think that's why this is Clifford recalling this.
Must
being
be.
Like, it has to be, right?
So he gets a Bloody Mary. Clifford takes the Bloody Mary, pours out all the Bloody Mary, and just pours in Tabasco into the cup instead.
Okay.
I think that's probably why he got the Bloody Marys, because it was something that was easy.
For the Tabasco to go in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely it. And that was dictated by Clifford.
Exactly.
Somehow.
And so Clifford forces Martin to toast Sarah's parents. He toasts Sarah's dad first, and then takes a drink of his Bloody Mary. But of course, it's Tabasco, so he can't breathe. It's too hot. It's way too hot for him. And so he can't toast Sarah's mom, sort of insults her, and then rushes to the kitchen with Clifford.
Yeah.
And starts like chasing them around the kitchen, hits him with like a long piece of bread and stuff. Like, he's so upset because he knows this is like Clifford's behind all this, basically.
Oh, yeah.
It's obvious. So,
but he can't prove it.
No, he can't prove it.
That's the whole thing. He can't prove any of this. And everyone just thinks he
just looks crazy.
Yeah.
We also learned that Sarah is going to be spending the night in San Francisco with Ellis. And I'm like, what? You know he's a womanizer. Like,
she doesn't know that, though.
She does know that.
Does she?
She does. She's the one that
She really acts like she doesn't.
She told fucking Martin about it.
Okay.
She's like, "Oh, I heard he's a womanizer." And I'm like,
what the fuck? Why you go with him then?
I know. I don't fucking know.
Really,
whatever. And it doesn't even feel like she's pressured into it. It feels like she's genuinely excited to go on this trip with him to San Francisco. I'm like, no. Either way, whatever. Anyway, one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that Martin has like really dry lips, and so he has like lip balm like that he puts on, and so Clifford switches out the lip balm for lipstick, and he puts. And so Martin puts lipstick on his lips, and he doesn't realize what's going on. Everyone laughs at him, and his Sarah's dad gets very upset about it. I'm like, I know gay panic was obviously a thing back in the day, but it's just like, Jesus Christ, chill out. Like,
yeah, and people start also calling him like, hello, miss. Here's the bathroom. I'm like, he just has lipstick on.
He just has lipstick on. Maybe he kissed some lady.
Yeah.
Either way, so that's my half of the movie.
Wow. I felt like there should have been way more of anything in that.
I did sort of skip over a lot of like jokes, but there wasn't a lot of like. There's a whole scene in the kitchen where Clifford just recreates scenes we just saw, where he's just like, you drank the Tabasco, and then you were like, and then you drank out of the water bowl, and it was just like, and I'm like, yeah, it wasn't funny the first time. Like, it's not funny the second time.
Well, a kid's retelling it. It's so funny. Anyway, Martin has lipstick on him. He gets mistaken for a lady, and then he gets arrested for being a suspect of apparently having a bomb on him.
Oh, bomb threat. Well, there you go. Bomb threat.
And I learned now he's designed the public transportation system for the entire LA. He's like, no, I'm actually an architect. It's a huge mistake. Martin Short gets taken away by the cops.
Martin Short?
Not Martin Short. I wrote Martin Short / Clifford Screams. So I was still trying to get used to the characters.
Got it.
Clifford Screams is like, I'm so sad. But then he gets taken away. He's like, ooh, now I'm happy. And I'm like, okay, so you're clearly a piece of shit.
Yes. I'm glad that you picked up on that pretty quickly.
It's not very hard, Mike. It's not very hard. At all. It's not subtle at all. So Martin gets interrogated by the cops. They're like, you called us and like told us you were going to put a bomb. And he's like, why would I do that? I'm making public transportation for LA. Like, what were you talking about? He's like, listen, here's the tape. And it's this thing where he's like, he plays the tape and it's just like, I got a real bomb for you and for your cops. So come get me or something like that. It's really fucking dumb. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, it totally sounds like a normal recording.
It definitely says that. And then let's see.
Clifford's so conniving.
He's so freaking conniving. Always. And then they call like his house, and Clifford left the answering machine thing that basically says like, I don't know where my uncle is, but I'll give you a hint. Kaboom! I'm like, okay. And the cops are like, I don't know about this. So then they Miss Sarah takes Clifford back home to his place. And it's like, oh, he says to her, wow, Miss Sarah, you're all dressed up to go dreaming. Tell me I'm wrong, Miss Sarah. And I'm like, what the fuck does this mean? Go dreaming? It's like they put in like words that only a kid would use, but just doesn't make any sense because it's still an adult saying it.
It's supposed to be cute.
It's supposed to be cute, but just creepy.
It is creepy. It's very creepy.
So then Martin arrives and she's like, wait, what happened? He's like, I was in jail. Don't worry, it's all fine. I figured out my old friend Larry Gold, he made a joke that I had a bomb. He thought it was very funny. So he's like trying to protect Clifford. He's trying to say that we're still friends. We're cool. I'm a good, I don't know why he's doing this, but now I know why.
I think he's doing it because if he says anything, he's going to look crazy.
He's going to look like a crazy person and not in front of Miss Sarah. Like, he can't do that. But during the time, he's like, everything's fine. Sarah turns around, he pushes Clifford's face into a bowl of cereal. And he's like, oh, we're all great. It's all good. Just go ahead and get out of here. And then he's like, Clifford basically is saying stuff like, I don't like those men. They're liars. Everyone knows liars eventually get caught. Making me think that Martin was lying the whole time.
No.
Which is...
Well... Clifford thought that Martin was lying because Martin said he was going to take him to Dinosaur World.
Oh, you're right. That's probably why. But it made it seem like it's something way more sinister to hide.
No.
Like he was actually like, Clifford, I kidnapped or something. But no. So she leaves. Now he yells at Clifford and says, I'm going to send you back to your parents. And he's like, I know you put the lipstick in my pocket. And he's like, no. Sarah's dad did that because Sarah's dad hates you. He did that. He's like, that's a fucking lie, but okay. What about the Tabasco? Is like, well, I didn't do that either. That was someone else. The only thing I will say, I'm sorry for the tape. And he's like, why did you do it all then? He's like, I was so angry you didn't let me go to Dinosaur World. Yep. It's the only place where a boy like me can be happy. And he's got the dinosaur, keeps playing with it.
Right.
And fucking Martin's like, takes this away. And he's like, no, listen to me, talk to me. When I was a boy in Chicago, there was this really cool amusement park called Riverview. I thought it was the only place a boy like me could be happy.
Aww.
But then finally, one day, they tore it down before I went. And he's like, that's so sad. And he's like,
he's trying to connect with him.
But, it happens. And someday I'll probably go there, I guess. I don't know. So here's what you're going to do. I'm not going to take you to Dinosaur World. You're going to go to your room. You're going to write a confession and say that we're best friends with Sarah, which is weird. And I won't send you back to your parents because he really doesn't want to go back.
Right. Because then that's all the way in Hawaii, which is now where Dinosaur World is.
Exactly. So he's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So then I see... Martin go back to work and he's on the computer making some public transit lanes, just like flopping them around. I'm like, I'm sure it's that easy to propose.
Gotta love it.
So then let's see. He goes back downstairs. He's like, all right, I'm gonna make lunch for Clifford. And he sees that Clifford put a note on the milk that he's run away. He's going to San Francisco to be with Miss Sarah because she's much nicer than him and to go there. So
I didn't realize how far away.
Yeah, that's a train ride. It's a long train ride.
Wait, that's right. Sorry, I thought that's where she lived. No, that's where she's going.
No, that's where she's going with Ellis
to
go have the meeting because he's like, I'm gonna go. She's all dressed up nice and she goes there the night before. So he's like, I love you with all my little boy heart. That's what it says. That's why they emphasize.
So
it's
creepy.
Suspicious, right? They say little boy a lot, like just to let you know he's a little boy. To
remind you.
So Martin runs to Union Station and he sees Clifford getting on the train. And he's like, oh shit, and he can't find him. So he gets on the train, he's like looking around the train, and then the train starts going to San Francisco. He's like, all right, I guess I'll go to San Francisco. So he sits down there, and then the train goes away, and you see Clifford. He's standing there like, hee, I tricked you. I didn't go to San Francisco.
God damn it, Clifford.
I know.
The way that you're like, this happens sometimes. The way you're describing this movie is way funnier than I think it actually probably was.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. Because I'm trying to punch up the jokes because the jokes, like the situation, like you said, the situations are funny.
Yeah.
It's just the vibes are off, man. The vibes are all off.
Yeah,
and
the timing's a little bit off.
Yeah, and also this character's just kind of grading on his own. Because now he starts. Now he's like, okay, you're done Broadway theater. Because he's just like dancing around, being like, I'm singing a song as I go back home, and I'm gonna go to Dinosaur World. And
it's
he's
a very Martin Short thing.
Very, very happy. Yeah, you can see the Martin Short pop out. And I say, put that short away. So then, freaking Martin gets there, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna call home just because I can't find Clifford at all.
Got it.
And so he calls home, and there's a huge party going on in his house. It's like a
fuck?
whole rager. And
how?
And the guy picks up and is like, huh? He's like, whose house is this? I don't know. I'm just here to party. And he's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Where's Clifford? He's like, oh, that kid? Yeah, he told us we could throw a huge party at this house if we just take him to Dinosaur World tomorrow. And he's like, what? And he hangs up. And yeah, so then, Clifford's just hanging out there, dancing with ladies, doing some sick break dancing, having a good time. Just, having fun.
Yeah, having a good time.
And let me tell you, the movie thinks this is really fun. About 5 minutes of just Martin Short dancing with everyone.
It's so weird that he is yet again putting off Dinosaur World. You think he would just go like...
Well, how is he supposed to get there? He doesn't have any money.
I know, but he could just be like, take me to Dinosaur World.
He doesn't have any money, yet somehow he paid a kid to give him...
He used all his money then.
He used all his money then.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you do the Rager and then he gets to go to Dinosaur World. I mean, it makes sense, right? Kind of?
I guess. I don't know. I'm shocked by his patience here, is all I'm saying.
You gotta give him time so Martin can come back. And
That's right.
So, yeah, freaking Martin's like, I gotta go home. Gets on a cab, starts driving, but then gets in a cab, excuse me, and he sees Miss Sarah on a date with that guy.
Ellis, yeah.
Ellis. I had no idea what this guy was this time.
Right. You didn't even recognize
him. And Ellis gives her jewelry.
Ooh.
And he's like, hold on. He stops. Stop the cab. And he gets out. And he glares the window, and she sees him. He sees her. The boss doesn't see either of them.
Right.
And she's like, I gotta go use the ladies' room real quick. So she comes out and confronts, like, what are you doing here? Which sounds crazy, right? Like, you're in San Francisco. Why the hell are you here? This is a long train ride.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm here because Clifford
tricked me.
Clifford's the worst person ever. He'd be happy with a bunch of sugar and a book about Hitler. That's how evil he is.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
That's awesome.
And he's like, you taking necklaces now from the boss? And she's like, oh, the company bought that for me. He's like, come on, the company didn't buy that for you. He's like, Clifford's a lying piece of shit, man. He tricked me to get up here so I got to throw a big party. And she's like, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. This is all. I knew this was all a big act. This engagement is basically off.
Oh my god.
She's
they are engaged.
Yeah. There's a weird joke where, they're saying like not gonna get married.
Oh.
I don't know if it's fully broken off, but they're not gonna get married, which implies both.
Right.
She says, there's a joke, which is a sign of the times. I'm gonna say it.
Oh, here we go.
She says, I could smell a phony a mile away, and then 2 drag queens come up and say, hey, have you seen our dog? And then they leave.
That's not funny.
And I'm like,
what the fuck? That's out of nowhere.
That's also not even really a joke. Like, I don't understand it. I don't know. Anyway, and she says, you're going to be a very lonely old man. And she goes back inside. Anyway, the next scene is her driving in the limousine with her boss.
Ellis.
And her boss is trying to make out with her and basically getting assaulted in the back of the limousine. And she's like, no, get off me. And she takes off his leg. Goes, I don't want this. I don't want any of this. And he's like, but the fact that you like act like you don't want it makes you even odder. And then she tries to get on there. And she's like, no. And she rips off his toupee and throws it out the window.
So now they're even.
Oh yeah,
that's
totally.
how it works now.
That's how it works now. You've embarrassed the man.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Now we're even here.
Yeah, now we're totally even. Definitely. So he comes back home, and Martin comes back home and finds Clifford tied up, and he's like,
tied up.
He's tied up, and he's like, oh, these bikers, they locked me up, and they wanted to touch my no zone. I'm glad you're here. They tied me up. He's like, you're a fucking liar, Clifford. I don't believe this for a second. So what he does is he boards up the door that Clifford's in and the windows.
That's awesome.
And he's like, finally, I can get some work done. So he starts working. And then so what Clifford does, which is weird, he does this while tied up. He tries to call Sarah and be like, Sarah, come get me. Martin's gone nuts. Please save me. And she's like, oh my God, I have to save him. So she starts getting on her way. And then he loosens his bandages and is like, I'm free now. And I'm like, why didn't you do that before you called? Because there's a whole thing with him struggling to call.
Yeah, weird.
It's very weird.
Bandages.
Not bandages, ropes.
Restraints.
That's the right word. They're bandages, I guess, in some way. Sure. You could use rope to stop a wound. And then he gets done calling her and puts it back on for some reason.
Right, because he wants to look like he was...
Yeah, so she comes back. She's
Restrained.
like, what the fuck? Martin, why do you do this? And she starts ripping the boards down and it says, you're the sick one, Martin. Clifford's like, yeah, you're the sick one.
Oh, no.
Martin's like, no. And he's
I'm
like,
just trying to get work done.
Where's that modal cassette? So he has to like find a cassette for a modal or something? Model, maybe? It's a cassette, I guess, because it's the 90s, so everything's on cassettes. And he's looking for it.
Why?
He tears up his whole place. I guess for the presentation. He can't find it. He was going to try to put his presentation on there. And he finds it like taped under one of his wardrobe drawers or something. And he's like, I fucking hate Clifford, even though he's gone now. He got taken away by Sarah to Sarah's place.
Right.
So he goes to do the presentation. And
oh no! He probably didn't check it to make sure.
And the creepy old man is there. And he's just like, now because his toupé's gone, he's got like a long one with like a ponytail, and he's like, "You look like Willie Nelson." He's like, "Shut up! You're late. You better have a bang up presentation. Also, you look like shit. You haven't shaved in a while. You smell weird. Go up there and do your presentation." So he goes up there, starts doing the presentation, puts the modal in, and what do you think happens?
Porn.
Porn? No. It explodes the model behind him. The
whole
model
do that?
just explodes. I don't know.
That's
He's like,
crazy.
Clifford.
Oh my god.
The whole model, like this huge model of LA and like a transit. And
Good
stuff.
going, Clifford. Now we don't have public transportation in LA.
And that triggers Martin to next level.
Oh, I bet.
Next level mode.
He worked so hard.
And his boss like fires him. He's like, you take responsibility for this and you get fired. And he's like, okay, I don't care anymore.
Wow.
All I want to do is kill that kid. So he goes to Sarah's house, straight up kidnaps Clifford.
Whoa.
Puts him in a straitjacket and takes him to Dinosaur World.
There we go.
Takes him to
Dinosaur World.
And he goes up there. It's night.
Describe it to me.
It's night. It's huge. It's massive. There's just big roller coasters everywhere. It's awesome. He goes up to the security guard. He's like, hey, can I get in here? I swear I'll take full responsibility. I want to show this kid Dinosaur World. And he's like, yeah, sure, man, whatever.
Wow.
And at this point, I'm like, what the fuck? It's just that easy to get in there?
Yeah, what the hell?
Because I did not know he had like a pass or anything to it.
Yeah.
It's like an Imagineer coming in. It's like Mickey Mouse driving up, being like,
Yeah.
oh, let me in.
Shh, I'm just going to take this kid around.
Oh, it'll be great. Why is he in a straitjacket?
Don't ask that.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to give him the full tour. So they go to a ride called Larry the Scary Rex.
Yes, this is the ride that he designed. He helped design, and the ride that Clifford's been the most excited to
Looks
go on.
fucking sick. There's a dinosaur head like pops up from the back, and it's like a big animatronic. It's like, rawr, and I'm like,
cool.
That's pretty cool.
It's probably where most of the budget went.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
So then Clifford's just enamored. He's like, I'm so excited. And he's like, are you excited, Clifford? Are you excited to go on the ride? He's like, yeah, it's my dream. And he's like, yeah, just like building a transit system for LA was my dream. Was my dream. He's like, what do you mean was? He's like, you know, Clifford. You know. And so he gets him strapped into the ride, which is, by the way, it's like a little triceratops that you get sit in on a roller coaster. And he sits there. It's only one seater, which seems very impractical, but you know,
well,
whatever.
He designed it.
He designed it.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be really funny. His transit system is just
one person.
It's basically what he's actually designing is the Elon Musk boring tunnel thing, where it's just a car that goes through. He's like, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So then he says, all right, well, let's see how you like it after 10 hours. He's like, oh, I bet I'll love it after that. And he's like, what about 100 hours? He's like, well, I'll love it even more, I'm sure. Clearly, he's antagonizing Martin. He's like, all right, here we go. So he turns it on, and he goes through, and we see this. We get the whole ride through. There's like a little Terry the pterodactyl comes down and talks to him and is like, oh, it's like a flying pterodactyl comes in and is like, well, Larry's extremely mad and excited. Hope you have fun. He's like, having a great time. It's a super dope ride. There's a part where a skeleton pops up with a hat and he points and he's like, oh, there's a T-Rex there. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I love skeletons.
And then he gets to basically what the ride, you know, he goes through a whole bunch of loops. There's a loop-de-loop. He gets there to a part, and then the T-Rex appears. It's huge animatronic. Whoa. Absolutely massive. And he's like, whoa, that's scary. But, you know, and the thing pops up on the ride where a little, like, gun pops out, and you just shoot him with a laser. And the pterodactyl's like, get him with the laser. And he has to shoot the giant dinosaur, and the dinosaur goes, and falls back down. And it's super cool.
Wow.
And then he goes at the end, and he's like, cool. How'd you like it, Clifford? He's like, I loved it. All right, well, let's see what it's like when he goes faster. And I'm like, I don't think that's how roller coasters work. There's a faster button. It's all gravity and shit.
Yeah.
But whatever, he's the designer, so he can do whatever he wants.
He's an engineer.
So he puts it to the next level, and he's like, what do you think about it going faster? And Clifford's like, what do you think? How many years do you think you'll get for kidnapping me? He's right. So he goes, rides the whole thing again. He comes out. He's just like, what about now? It's like, well, let's go even faster. So he cranks it to the like hyperspeed, which is like in the red zone or whatever on the little controls.
It can break.
It goes super fucking fast. The pterodactyl glitches out and falls off. And he gets to the part, he's going super fast the whole time. The skeleton pops out,
like breaks,
and lands in the ride with Clifford.
That's awesome.
And he then gets to the T-Rex part. And the T-Rex is going so fast that it starts breaking, and then it starts collapsing, and it starts to fall on Clifford. And even though, Martin is like, oh shit, this is actually breaking. This is bad. He's like, well, I don't want this kid to like die. So he goes and he decides like, should I save him? All right, I'll go ahead and decide to save him. But it's great because like the dinosaur like falls on Clifford, like its mouth opens up. This animatronic's very cool, but barely misses him, and it like breaks off part of the ride, and the dinosaur's all glitched out, and its face is like ripped off, like kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's shit, where you see the inside of the animatronics, and it's laying on the ground, and it's just chomping. And Clifford's like laying on the cart, trying to not fall into.
Damn, this sounds so cool.
It's very cool.
How the hell do they do this?
I don't know. It's like a different part of the movie. Like it felt like this was built around this idea of like a cool dinosaur animatronic.
World. Yeah,
and it looks sick. So I'm glad this part doesn't disappoint. But anyway,
no, not at all.
Martin goes. It's a whole harrowing thing where he saves him, and the cart falls, and the dinosaur it dies forever.
Forever.
Yeah,
they're extinct.
He says, even though you're diseased, I don't want you to die. Clifford's like, all right, look, I want to say I'm sorry.
Aww.
And Martin's like, listen, no one wants to hug you ever. Also, you're not sorry. Sorry is a human emotion, and you're just a destruction machine.
Yeah.
And he's like, come on, let's get out of here. He's like, why should I go with you? You don't even care, says Clifford. And he says, for the first time in my... And then the narrator comes out and says, for the first time in my life...
Must have been fucking
I was like,
so
what?
Crazy.
He's like, for the first time in my life, I felt very confused. I didn't know what. I just cared actually for once what Uncle Martin thought of me.
Oh.
And now it cuts to him in a fucking old man outfit. He's like a monk with his old man makeup. Monk? He's not a monk. He's a priest.
He's a monk?
He's a priest.
Yeah.
Catholic monk.
Yeah.
He's then like telling this random kid like, if you destroy everything that ends up in the way of your dreams, then you'll be alone and won't have any dreams left.
Wow.
Like, damn. So deep. What a long story just to get to that.
Yeah.
Like, you really could have cut out a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like that whole thing with the anniversary party.
I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah.
And the kid's like, did your uncle ever forgive him? And he's like, yeah, he begged for it. Like, I sent him 287 letters of apology. All of them returned back unopened. But eventually he forgave me.
Huh.
He's like, well, what happened to his girlfriend? He's like, well, one day, this old expression called one day out of the blue. They mentioned it's an old expression, out of the blue.
Because it's in the future. So they also mentioned that like a place that we used to call L.A. So like a lot of these things.
Okay, what's the apocalypse like now,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Like they don't say out of the blue anymore because the sky is now green or some shit.
Something like that. Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I received a phone call. And it was the best request in the whole wide world. He was the ring bearer for the wedding. It was a scene of him giving the ring bearer.
He did ask to be that.
He's like, here's the rings. And Sarah kisses Clifford on the cheek. And then she's like, Martin, kiss him on the cheek. And he's like, no. He's like, and she gives him a look like, you better do this.
Or else.
Because my whole thing is, I need you to be exactly the way I want you to, Martin.
Yeah.
You can't have any emotions. You can't be mad.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does it. He fucking kisses Clifford on the cheek.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid's like, wow, father, you were some kid. I have a long way to go to match you. But I won't do that because I want people to like me. And he's like, good.
Wait, that's really the end of the movie?
That's the end of the movie. The kid realized, what's his name, Roger? Is like, yeah, I'm going to be a good kid because I want people to like me.
That's it?
Yeah. And then then the kid walks away and goes into like I don't know, what do you call them? The place where kids live.
Sure.
The place where kids live.
Right. The home for
boys.
Yeah.
And, Clifford walks closer to the camera and pulls out a little dinosaur and says, wait, mission accomplished, old friend. And he puts it away, and that's the end of the movie.
That's stupid.
What did you expect the movie to end on?
I wanted Clifford to like win out.
No.
And for Martin to be dead or thrown in jail. Like,
Oh, you wanted to be like full chaos mode.
Yes, I wanted to be full chaotic. I wanted Martin to like, because like they're like, I wrote all these letters to Martin and he never forgave me. They kept getting sent back. I thought that was like a reference to like Martin was thrown in prison.
That's the thing. It's like super messy about like what like he never wrote back or like didn't even open them or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is the point of doing all that and saying that?
The whole movie is so chaotic and crazy. I thought the movie was going to end in a similar fashion. Like I thought, what I thought was going to happen too was, you know how like the skeleton falls into the ride next to Clifford. I thought that Martin was going to think Clifford was dead because he was going to like he was going to come across the skeleton inside of the ride and think like that was like Clifford's skeleton or something. Like
feel bad.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. I thought this was going to get fucking like Looney Tunes.
No,
no.
The movie
it's actually like a happy ending.
It pulls back
Clifford
on the end.
learns his lesson.
Does he though? He barely learns his lesson. Like he's just kind of like
he did.
He's just like, well,
he learned to be an empathetic person.
I guess I'll be empathetic, but we don't see it. He says it, right?
Yeah,
like it feels like they must have changed the ending of this movie or something.
Yeah. Well, the fact that Martin is not in prison, I would say, is a pretty big like indicator that
Yeah, right. Like
Clifford's
maybe Clifford must have
learned.
explained it and been like, oh, I was kind of an asshole. It's fine, and they figured it out.
And now he's helping kids out. So
yeah, maybe he's helping. He's like, I was a troubled boy.
Here's how to make him
like
not so troubled.
Like again, if you remove those two scenes, the beginning and the end, right? This movie would be just fucking unhinged.
That's what I wanted it to be.
Yeah,
I thought it was or end with him being like an old man, and then he like fucking kicks Roger in the butt or something like that, or like he's still evil or something.
No, it's not. It's like weird because he's basically a monster.
Yeah,
and then at the end, he's just like, no, I'm cured.
I'm not gonna be a monster anymore.
I'm gonna be a priest.
Yeah. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. I think it's silly though. I don't know. I don't know if I like this movie very much.
This movie's terrible.
It's not a very
so
good movie.
bad. None of it's funny. I didn't laugh a single time. I thought the animatronic was cool.
I want to see this ending.
I wanted to see Clifford fucking die. That's what I wanted. I wanted the opposite of you. I want Clifford to end up in jail.
That would be crazy.
I wanted him to be the psychopath.
Like at the end of like Psycho, like
because they keep mentioning he's like, I'm a human child with human emotions. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, you're not. You're a fucking psychopath. Like Martin doesn't even forgive him at the end. Clifford has to change, right?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's hard to forgive that kid. Like you lost your job, almost lost your girlfriend.
Yeah,
like,
all this shit just because you wanted to be nice and like be like, oh, I want to, show. And he was gonna be a good. Like he probably would take him to Dinosaur World after 2 days.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
This kid has no patience. He's a piece of shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's weird that he has patience in moments though, right? Where he's like, okay, guys, you can party at this dude's house if you take me to Dinosaur World tomorrow.
Almost like well, you can say he's an inconsistent character, but he's also a kid, so it's like kids have inconsistencies, right, with their personality.
It's whatever's funny. Like that's what it comes down to, right? Like this just feels like a Mad TV sketch or something. Like it just feels like a little precocious, evil child is a monster towards his uncle who just wants to be like a good guy.
But like a sketch.
Yes,
like a sketch, very uneven. Right,
and such a thin premise that is like pulled out to movie length. Yeah,
it's so long, and you have to have good jokes between it, and like none of the jokes are funny. Did you laugh once during this movie?
Maybe once. But like that's it. Like it really wasn't as. That's what I was surprised by. Is like I was expecting a very chaotic film. I was very excited to see Martin Short just like losing his shit and being crazy and evil.
Yeah,
and I saw hints of it, but it just like I don't know.
I could have respected it more if he went more nutso. I mean, the whole dinosaur thing was pretty crazy. Like that whole section was nuts. Like he almost kills a kid because he's just like running him through a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't have a job. Like, what does he do now? Does he just become homeless? Like he
he could probably get another job. He is a pretty well sought after engineer.
Well, also he destroyed like an entire theme park ride that he built.
That's true.
Like that's pretty crazy.
And kidnapped a child.
Yeah,
and
blew up. Let's imagine that was forgiven or whatever. But he blew up a model. He clearly seems to be bad at his job.
Yeah.
He like broke his own ride.
Yeah, that's true.
Clearly deranged.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, I guess you can get a job again.
I guess
like,
so.
I don't know.
Who cares? This isn't real. This doesn't matter.
Real. Doesn't make any sense. Obviously, it's through Clifford's
point of view,
so it's probably skewed or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate this movie. it was awful to watch. I don't like adults playing kids. Already off to a bad start, and on top of that, it wasn't even a good one of those.
Yeah.
It was just poorly made. Like.
Yeah.
As much as I'm kind of whatever about PeeWee Herman's movie, there's moments that I can respect and think are funny, and there's actually like well-written moments that are really good. I think it's got cool direction. There's a lot of going for it. This has none of that. This has just the annoying character.
Yeah, nothing else.
Yeah,
and a cool dinosaur.
And he learns a lesson, right? But the lesson is so thin. And
the
like,
lesson
if
is so goddamn like it's goofy. Like it's like what in the fuck?
have empathy, okay.
I just like I never expected this movie to have an actual lesson to be learned in the end. I thought this movie was just like a barrel of laughs and chaos, you know.
But it's not that
it doesn't
either.
even commit to it.
That's the thing. It doesn't commit to one or the
Yeah,
other. And it should have at least
exactly.
committed to something, and then I could have maybe respected it more and been like, okay, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
But at least there's some good jokes in it. You know, I don't like how the characters ended up, but like it just in the end, it just feels muddled. Like none of it makes sense. None of the characters are consistent. The only one who's consistent is Martin just hates him.
Yeah, I did like Martin. I like how like exasperated he was. I think I could just relate. I'm just like,
That's exactly it. I felt
Have
bad
you
for
ever
Martin.
like dealt with like precocious kids like this?
No, I don't deal with kids.
That's fair.
Especially ones that look like Martin Short.
Yeah, that's
Stay
true.
far away from them.
I
If they got
once-
Pinocchio vibes, I'm out of here.
I once had to work at like a after school like summer activity thing for little kids, and there was this one little kid that was like fucking evil.
Oh, yeah, what was the evil things they would do?
He would just say weird shit and make people uncomfortable. Like he talked about tampons a lot, and he was like a little boy.
Okay.
And then like he would like try to like he was like a little kid, and he would try to like jump up and like pull people's nipples.
Oh god.
Yeah, he was a really rough kid. I think he probably came from like kind of a rough home, so it was kind of that's the thing is like I felt bad for him, but I was also like I hated him and despised him.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's the thing is you feel bad for him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Clifford,
You don't feel bad
He's
for
going
this
to
guy.
fucking Hawaii. Fuck this kid.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got fucking Richard Kind as a dad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That would
Sounds
be
like you're having a
awesome.
great time.
Yeah.
But no, he's just a spoiled little kid. So it's like, fuck this kid, you know?
That's true.
Like, I don't know.
Are you guys children? You shouldn't be listening to this podcast. Email us. Email the other
If
half
you are,
podcast.
fuck you. That's what I say. You precocious little kid.
Yeah.
You're probably taking our lessons to heart. This is all sarcasm. You don't know about sarcasm because you're a dumb kid.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and on Discord.
You don't understand our nuances.
No, you don't understand nuance. You don't even know what that word means.
No, you have to look it up in a dictionary. You don't know how to
Idiots.
look up dictionaries because you don't know how fucking letters work. You dumb kid.
You can also find us. If you want to listen to our previous episodes, find them on any podcatching app. And while you're there, please leave a 5-star rating and review. We will read it on the show no matter what it says, even if you are a child.
Oh, I'm going to email Mr. Apple and make sure that we get stricter restrictions on our explicit podcast so that kids can't listen to this shit.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be annoyed by them and their 1-star ratings that they're probably going to give because they're precocious little shits.
Yeah, they'll leave a 5-star rating, but then the review will say like, "I hated this." podcast."
It'll say poopy.
and then we'll have to listen to
a
it.
bunch of poopy butts here. Bunch of poopy butts.
Yeah. Man, I really want to see the Dinosaur World scene now.
You should watch it. You should watch the scene. This is legitimately, if that was like I could see them building the whole movie around that because it was cool.
Yeah.
It was very. I just love a big set, right?
I love a big physical set.
A big physical set was very cool.
I can't even picture in my head. Like this just sounds
it's
amazing.
awesome. We should watch it after this because and you audience should also watch this scene because it's
and nothing else.
It's like 10 minutes long. It's pretty.
I'm sure it's all on YouTube probably too.
Oh yeah,
like
because
this
it's the best
scene.
part of the movie.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie was shit.
Yeah. Well,
Sad.
good night, everybody. Here, let's pull it up.